Mental toughness in business sounds like a necessity for success, but does everyone naturally have it? With me now is Doug Straharczyk, co-author of Mental Toughness, Coaching Strategies to Improve Performance, Resilience and Well-being. Well, Doug, this might sound obvious, but mental toughness, what exactly do you mean by this?
It's a personality trait which significantly determines the extent to which we can deal with stress, pressure and challenge, irrespective of circumstances. Every single one of us are either mentally tough or mentally sensitive or some point in between. People who are mentally tough work harder, work smarter and are happier doing it.
Well, why then are some people, businesses or indeed cultures better able to cope with change and perhaps stress than others?
Personality is about three things. It's about how you think, how you feel and how you behave. Most organisations, when they're looking at change, think about behaviour. But the way individuals and organisations behave depends on how they think.
Well, I suppose then the million-dollar question is, how do you develop mental toughness if you don't have it?
Firstly, there has to be the desire to change or the recognition of the need to change. But not everybody necessarily wants to change. But what you can do in those circumstances is show them how a mentally tough individual or how a mentally tough organisation approaches the kind of challenges they face.
And how do you adapt this mentally tough mindset to the corporate environment?
At the individual and at the organisational level. So we do quite a lot of work with organisations who, say, going through a change programme, and not everybody in the organisation is responding positively to that. So some people are getting left behind. Default response is often get rid, but actually you're also throwing out a lot of talent and a lot of experience, and a lot of expertise. What you can do is show those people how to either become more mentally tough or behave in a more mentally tough way. And we've come across examples of organisations who have done the classic thing. They've said we've got to change. They've involved all their managers and all their leaders in defining what that change should look like, the visioning process, and then getting them involved in planning how that should roll out, and nothing happens. And the explanation, very commonly, is that you haven't actually changed the mindset of the individuals.
Give me examples of the kind of issues that this can help you overcome in your working life.
It has a big application in stress management, which these days is more positively described as well-being. And so you can show people how to look at things more positively, how to visualize success, how to deal with those panic moments, and that's called anxiety control. It's what conventional stress management is about. But the other two big areas are showing people how to set goals properly. So this is all about setting milestones. I've got a big goal, I've got to achieve it over 18 months. From where you're standing, it looks overpowering. But if you break it down into milestones and say, right, I've got to do this after month 1, do this after month 3, those are never, or very rarely, insurmountable obstacles.
What do you make of people with a can't-do attitude?
Mental toughness consists of 4 components. One is control, the second one is commitment, third one is challenge, and the fourth one is confidence. Control is the element where you assess whether somebody's got a mindset to do or not do. So it's where can't do sits. The common test for that is to say, I've got something for you to do, here it is, go and do it. If somebody's got a very can-do attitude, they'll say, fine, I'll take it. They won't necessarily know what they're going to do. They just have that inner belief that they can control enough of their lives and enough of their circumstances to be able to achieve. And they've built that up through experience. There are people at the other end of the scale whose attitude will be, I'm not sure I can do that. And this is the giveaway language. I'll do it, but, or I'll do it if, or I'll do it but I need some resources or something like that. As soon as people start using conditional language, that's a really good indication of a can't-do attitude. Funny enough, part of the development of a can-do attitude is to change the language in somebody's head.
But it has to come from the person themselves, I suppose, because what if, for example, you had a boss who had a can't-do attitude? Is there anything you could do about that?
If you're mentally tough, you'll perform irrespective of your boss's attitude, and we've come across that situation. But you're quite right. The mental toughness and the sense of control at the top of an organisation will impact very significantly on the mental toughness of people underneath them.
Well, how does mental toughness apply to leadership? Because I just assume that for a leader of a company, this should almost come naturally to them, no?
Generally, the higher up an organisation you go, we found the more mentally tough the senior manager. But then, do they get more mentally tough because they get up there, or do they get up there because they're more mentally tough? We don't have the answer to that question yet. But it's likely to be that the mentally tough are the people who get to the top of the tree.
And does this mental toughness need to be sort of adapted when you're either working in a team or as an individual? I suppose what I'm trying to ask is, do egos get in the way?
A lot of the time we focus on working with the mentally sensitive, the people who haven't got mental toughness. But the people who are mentally tough, their world is fine. They achieve a lot. I mean, the evidence is they earn more, they live in better houses, they live a better lifestyle, because they've got this inequality. There are potential downsides sometimes. If they're not self-aware about the mental toughness, and that's a really important bit, then if they've got a high sense of control, a high sense of can-do, they assume everybody else around them should have the same sense. If the people around them don't, they can end up intimidating and, of course, regressing other people's sense of can-do. And that's quite a common fault. You can see organisations fall.
Is that a fault?
It's a potential fault, yes, because mental toughness, if you look at an individual, for somebody who's mentally sensitive, the focus of attention is on them to learn to become more positive, better performing, and enjoy what you're doing. If you're a mentally tough individual, you don't have to learn that, you do that. But if you assume that everybody else around you is like you, you're going to make a big mistake. The problem is that the people at the top of an organisation rarely can achieve independently of the people that they work with. And so for a mentally tough individual, the potential fault is not engaging with the people around them.